Back here on SportsLine, every once in a while, a story comes into the inbox or across the desk that just makes you perk up and think, wow, that is an interesting story. That's something I'd like to hear more about. And that happened recently when we were connected with the idea that a former Navy SEAL, Jason Kuhn, who grew up in the area, played baseball in Middle Tennessee, actually kind of struggled for a bit, wanted to give up the game there, and decided to get out of baseball altogether and go into the service and want to be a SEAL. It all came from 9/11. He wanted to be a part of that. He wanted to protect this country. He wanted to fight for this country and the things that he believed in. He went in and he went as far as you can go, basically, the special ops team with the Navy SEALs. He did tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. And when he came back, he thought, okay, now I have this skill set. How can I apply this to some other things that I want? And he realized that a lot of the same language that's used between teammates of the SEALs and in their training and all that are similar to what athletes, guys that he ran with in his old baseball circles and in athletics when he was growing up. It was kind of a similar verbiage, a similar language, so to speak. And he wondered if there was a way to translate that and transfer some of that energy and the mental toughness and the grind that set the SEALs apart to help athletes and teams within their competition. He did it with a few individuals here and there, but then he decided to form Stonewall Solutions, which is his company that is all about building mental toughness and teamwork and leadership in individuals and in teams. And he's gone around the country. He's done this at the Division III level. He's done it at the Division I level. He's done it in high schools. He's worked with professional athletes, all trying to empower them with the same knowledge and the same type of training that he got during his days as a Navy SEAL. They've had a wide range of success with a bunch of different programs, but what caught my attention was the overwhelming amount of success they had with a high school football team here locally. Independence High School, a few years ago, was coming off basically a 500 season, and they contacted Jason and Stonewall Solutions and said, come out here and help us. Let's try to make our players, let's try to make our team better with this type of training. And right after they had the training a couple summers ago, they went on an absolute tear. 29 consecutive wins, won a state championship. For those of you who follow high school football around here, they got to another state championship last year before losing in that game. Just a remarkable run. And when you talk to people at Independence, a lot of them put a ton of credit into this training and what it makes the players go through and the type of leaders it produces. And maybe even more than what it means on the football field, it's the lasting impact for them long term. So I thought when I saw this and I heard this, this is a story we have to tell. We have to tell the story of this guy, his company, and of this team. The team that went from 500 to state champion coming out of this training ground. We ran the story last night on the Electric Power Company's Sunday Sports Central, and here it is.
Lead by example, proactively inspire, own the results.
Jason Kuhn knows what battle is all about.
I watched the second plane hit live on campus there in my dorm room at Nick's Hall and decided I needed to do something about it. I went to the Navy with the intention of becoming a SEAL, and I made it.
He spent 8 years in the Navy after 9/11 and was part of an elite group of SEALs during deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, Kuhn, a former baseball player at Middle Tennessee, is sharing his experience with athletes and teams.
And the Navy SEALs are just the elite. We talked, we met. And what he was doing and what his program is involved with, we just think it absolutely adds a ton to what we're trying to teach our kids.
Kuhn founded Stonewall Solutions, a company that develops training programs like this one, used by the Independence High School football team that utilizes SEAL tactics to build team culture and mental toughness. The grueling workouts prepare players mentally and physically for when the real competition begins.
The coaches are going to stay out of it. We leave it up to Jason and Paul, and they take the whole team, and they're by themselves, and they get these kids to find new ceilings, to push through some adversity.
We're coming here at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, right in the death of heat, and we're just working our butts off. And then when we get out there, most of the guys haven't worked like that. So we know that we've trained just as hard as they, or even harder, and we always think that we have. So we come into the game with a lot of confidence.
Kuhn has put professional athletes and college teams through his program as well. Each time, the goal is to get them to tune out their surroundings, to forget the weather or a bad call, and focus only on the mission at hand.
You can't force winning, you can't force results. You can only influence them by demanding perfection of everything within your control.
The result of the training is a tougher and tighter group of players, willing to go the extra mile for one another.
When you're on the field and like you just feel down, you think you can't do it, and then you really think back to your training and you realize that, hey, if I just think about what I'm going to do next play and don't worry about how much pain you're in or how tired you are, you're going to work for the guy next to you so you don't lose that game.
When the team leaders buy in and that leadership comes internal, amazing things happen.
Amazing things have certainly happened at Independence since Kuhn first arrived on campus. Coming off a 6-5 season in 2014, the Eagles completed the Stonewall Solutions training and promptly ran off 29 consecutive wins.
We just have that mindset that we know we're going to beat the other team.
Winning a state championship in 2015 and finishing second last season.
Most teams do better, but a few have done exceptional things like these guys, and I just love being a part of it, you know. You see a kid hug his father crying after a state title game, and you're in the background just knowing you were a part of that is where the real reward is.
Championship success that will provide memories long after they're done playing, and training that will serve them for a lifetime.
Life lessons that these kids can take with them outside of football, and as they grow up into young men, man, there's some things that are just bigger.
It's an absolute blast. As long as we can handle it physically, we'll keep hitting as many schools as we can hit because it's impactful for the kids, not just in football, but in their lives.
What a cool story it is, and the results absolutely impactful, certainly on the field. And as they mentioned, I think results that those young men will carry with them into their adult lives for a long, long time to come. Got to take our final break. We'll come back and wrap things up on this edition of SportsLine right here on News Channel 5 Plus.